Juju, just you talked about Pat trusting you. This goes back to like the workouts you guys are doing in Texas in the offseason. Just kind of that process and how it's evolved and where you guys are right now.
Oh, man. Dude, you want to talk about like chemistry and trust? Yeah, so we started off in Dallas. We worked out there. It was pretty cool. Pat got his like own little facility. I'm like, damn, that's pretty cool, Pat. So we started off there. We came here, worked out in camp, built that chemistry. Obviously, preseason, camp. But I'm going to tell you what got us the chemistry, what we needed this game. So I think it was Friday night. It was me, Pat, Travis, and MVS. We were playing Call of Duty together. We were playing Warzone. And we played 3 games. We won 3 games back to back. And we got off, we was like, damn, like, it's really hard to win a game in Warzone Call of Duty. And you could just tell, like, the communication between all of us and, like, the chemistry was just like, it was like we were in the game. Like, he's there, he's right there, he's above me, he's right here. And kind of just led into this game, and it kind of just showed on the field.
Wow, what a concept. Quarterback spending time with his receivers, getting to know his receivers, going above and beyond the Call of Duty, pun intended, to communicate and mesh with his receivers. Aaron Rodgers. You wonder.
Kyler Murray loved hearing that too. Kyler Murray's about to get DeAndre Hopkins and Robbie Anderson and all those guys together.
That's true.
And do his favorite activity. And then he thinks it's going to translate to Sunday. Maybe he should play with Cliff Kingsbury too, so they won't have to have yelling matches on the sideline.
Maybe that's the secret, though. They start doing the thing Kyler does. It's the best way to get access to Kyler Murray. But things like that work. Little ways that you develop trust and understanding, and you reinforce the relationship, the camaraderie, spending time together, getting to know each other, liking each other. It's basic human dynamics that some teams understand and other teams don't. The Chiefs understand it. And that's why I was far less concerned about them losing Tyreek Hill than I was the Packers losing Devontae Adams, because Patrick Mahomes spent the time. He was at the offseason workouts. They got together on their own time, something Aaron Rodgers did not do. He was, exploring the whole ayahuasca fields in Peru or whatever was going on, going out finding black Jedi robes that he could wear to post-game press conferences. He wasn't getting to know these young guys that need to feel like they know him and they can prove themselves to him and he can trust them. And it's little things like that that manifest themselves in those key moments. So the Chiefs, it was a close game for a while. It just shows you how a touchdown here and a touchdown there turns a close game into what looks like a blowout. 44-23. The Chiefs are 5-2. They head into their bye on top of the AFC West. Patrick Mahomes, 423 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. The pick was early when it kind of felt like maybe the 49ers were just going to run away with it. They were up 10-0. But, the thing about the Chiefs, you got to score touchdowns when you can. You got to get in a position to deliver the knockout blow, because the Chiefs are that basketball team that's going to go on an 18-2 run, and you never know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. And when it happens, you're going to be done, Myles.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just one of those things where you understand what the Chiefs offense can do, right? This is an elite unit. And when you have guys that make you be able to convert 3rd and 20 and 3rd and 6 with a wide open pass in the middle of the field, which is something I don't really expect to see against the 49ers defense, but there's been some stuff going on there over the last couple of weeks where that defense has not looked at the championship caliber unit as it did a few weeks back. So, I bet they'll get right next week against the Los Angeles Rams, but that's a different story. But I think when you look at the Chiefs, right, and they have basically three receivers at 100 yards, Juju Smith-Schuster over that mark, Marquez Valdez-Scantling is over that mark, Travis Kelce finished with 98 yards. So when you've got that kind of trio, and then you have McKinnon, and you have Hardman doing what he's doing as well, that's where this unit really separates itself. It becomes elite. You see the Andy Reids of the world and the Eric Bieniemys. They kind of school DeMeco Ryans a little bit. Ryans is a guy who used to play for Andy Reid. So that's kind of a fun dynamic there too. So I felt kind of nervous about the Chiefs going into this game. Some of my buddies who were Kansas City fans also felt a little nervous for them. But when the Chiefs show that urgency and they show that they can play like that, they can beat anybody. They really can. That's the beauty of what happens when you have somebody like Patrick Mahomes.
And yesterday was a great backs against the wall kind of litmus test for both teams. And I said the Chiefs need it more than the 49ers because the Chiefs now, a game behind the Bills, tiebreaker 2, basically 2 games they have to make up if they want to force the Bills to come to Arrowhead Stadium in the postseason. Chiefs need to keep winning. 49ers can get away with a couple of clunkers and still figure it out. And even though you throw in Christian McCaffrey, and I really do think, there's a lot of tentacles and connections and connective tissue between Christian McCaffrey and Kyle Shanahan and, the idea of F them picks and let's go all in, and an opportunity presented itself, and here are the Rams sniffing around a great player again, and they may go get him. We better go get him first. But I really think, and Kyle Shanahan talked about this last week, watching the film of Super Bowl 54, he doesn't like watching that film. It's a reminder of what a great team they were and how they blew a 10-point lead with 7 minutes left in the game. And I suspect he really wanted to beat the Chiefs. So you get Christian McCaffrey there. You use him. He ended up with 10 touches on the day, more than what we thought he was going to get. It was supposed to be a package of plays in the red zone. And somebody told me on Saturday night, watch, he'll get 20 touches because they won't. That's not red zone. They won't know how to not use him once they see what he can do. But the game got out of hand. 8 carries, 38 yards, 2 catches for 24. Didn't do as much as he could have done, but did more than I thought he would do. And, yeah, you got the Rams coming up next. And you got a chance to get McCaffrey more involved. And for the 49ers, this is going to be about a late kick like we saw last year. They're going to just kind of hang around and then find their groove, get guys healthy. That's been the story of the 49ers the past few years. Too many injuries. Get some key players healthy, and then off you go, and maybe you make a run. And McCaffrey wasn't traded for to make immediate benefits and win this game. I think that was just part of the short-term temptation. Long-term, he stays healthy. This year, he can help make a difference for them.
Yeah, he certainly can. And especially when, like you said, the Rams were sniffing around. The Rams at one point probably thought that they were going to get him, but then the 49ers had some more draft capital that they could spend. And frankly, I know how much the Rams loved Christian McCaffrey coming out of the draft. They loved 2 players in that draft, right? Myles Garrett and Christian McCaffrey were a couple of their highest rated players. So they love that dude. And it doesn't surprise me that they were in potentially on that trade, even though Christian McCaffrey is not going to solve all the 49ers problems, just as he would not have solved all of the problems with the Los Angeles Rams. And I think when you see some of the turnovers that Jimmy Garoppolo has, I put it out there last night on Twitter. Look, Joe Montana's not walking through that door, okay? You still have the limitations on you that are set by the quarterback. And when he does
here it
things...
is. This is it. This is when the game... Here it is. Look at that. What is that?
It's terrible, Mike. It's terrible. And that's the kind of thing that I'm saying. You have the limitations put on you by the quarterback. It's why they went out and they traded up to get somebody in Trey Lance in the first place, because you see Jimmy Garoppolo make plays like that. You see Jimmy Garoppolo give the ball away when he's in the pocket later on in the game, and it's a critical fumble. You can't have those things happen. And so play at the high level that you need to be to win a championship. So, I think I like the trade less the more I think about it for whatever reason. I don't know. I see why Christian McCaffrey is going to be an effective weapon for the 49ers, not just this year, but in the next couple of years. But this is the limitation put on you by your quarterback. Your quarterback makes boneheaded decisions.
I just feel like for a team that has such a great structure and base and nucleus in place, when it comes time to polish things off, they have no idea how to do it, and they get desperate. And they do things that defy logic or common sense, and I think they get too caught up in the mistakes they've made in the past to allow themselves to feel even more desperate to get it right, if that makes any sense. We didn't evaluate or draft Patrick Mahomes. We didn't wait for Kirk Cousins, who I know you'll laugh, most not you, but Kirk Cousins. Hey, they'd have a Super Bowl or 2 if they had gotten Kirk Cousins, because he would have been perfect for that offense, and he wouldn't do the dumb shit that Jimmy Garoppolo does there. I said it at 8:36 a.m. Eastern.
It's 5 o'clock.
They would have a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins. They said no thank you to Tom Brady when he was ready to come play for them.
That,
and then they do this ridiculous.
They'd have a Super Bowl if they had Tom Brady. I believe that more than I believe the Cousins thing.
And then they do the ridiculous desperation Trey Lance trade that has yet to pay off any dividends whatsoever. And now they're putting a lot of eggs in this Christian McCaffrey basket, because if he gets injured, and shocker, spoiler alert, running backs get injured. If he gets injured, they're going to look even stupider for having done it and given up 4 draft picks. You could draft 4 running backs with those picks who could, a revolving door, put a guy, especially, that's the great irony here. The Kyle Shanahan offense is tailor-made to create stars out of thin air. You get a guy who you can trust to hold on to the football, you can trust him in pass protection, and you block for him, and boom, you got a 1,000-yard rusher. Boom, just like what Mike Shanahan did. Oh, you go from Terrell Davis to Orlando Scary to Mike Anderson. Just plug a guy in, 1,000 yards, 1,000 yards. So now we're going to give up 4 draft picks and pay a ton of money to Christian McCaffrey. It really doesn't make sense. But I defer to what Kyle Shanahan has generally been able to do. We'll see. I'm not writing them off from yesterday. This is going to take some time. They're going to be a force. They get their guys healthy. We've seen that they can be dominant. They just got to win a game now. They've lost 2 in a row, and they got to turn it around sooner than later, or they're going to be in Buccaneers, Packers, where the hell are we? The ship is sinking mode. Let's take a break. Tua Tagovailoa back. We'll talk about his night and his return 24 days after a scary concussion when this Monday edition of PFT Live, presented by Google Pixel, continues right after this. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.